Are you thinking about moving to Raleigh, North Carolina, and you just want to know what are the hidden truths, the truths that most people don't tell you, and then you find out once you get here? Well, in today's video, we're going to be talking about 6 uncomfortable truths that need to be discussed, that everyone needs to hear about before moving to Raleigh, North Carolina. What's up, everybody? It's Polynice here. If this is your first time on this channel, welcome. If not, welcome back. And while I have your attention, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, and the bell so you are notified every time I do a video with you, sharing with you exactly what it's like to live, eat, sleep, play, all in Raleigh, North Carolina. And just as much as I enjoy making these videos, I am a licensed realtor, so I would love nothing more but the opportunity to be able to assist you with any of your real estate needs. So that number that's popping up right there, make sure to give me a call, shoot me a text, email, day or night, heck, maybe even on the weekends. Always remember, I got your back in this market. So the basis of this video was done because I've, over the course of a couple of months, couple of weeks, have done a survey. And the one question I asked many people that are living here in Raleigh, North Carolina is, what is one thing that you would change about Raleigh, North Carolina?
It wasn't one thing, I can tell you that.
However, I've decided to dim it down to some, only find the important ones, of course the ones that I could talk about as well, and it came down to 6 of them. Now this isn't going to be in any specific rank or order, I'm just going through the list here. And the first one was building a mass public transportation system, something of that nature. Now yes, there is buses here, yes there is trains, but it's just not to the scale of your New Yorks, it's not to the scale of, your LAs, it's not DC, it's nothing to that scale. Even from my hometown, I think our hometown had a little bit more going for it in itself, and it was a smaller town. It wasn't anything major. I think Raleigh was much bigger than where it is I come from in Connecticut. However, we had the local MTA system that allowed us to travel from New York to New Haven, wherever, Bridgeport, wherever it is that we need to go. But here in Raleigh, you don't really have that. If anything, you only have the Amtrak that takes you from one location, and I know it goes through Fayetteville, I believe it goes to Greensboro, it goes to Raleigh. Now I don't know where, and Cary is another place that it goes through as well, but I don't know exactly what are those destinations of those places that it tends to go to. However, it's just not as well developed that many people will anticipate, and including myself, because again, sometimes you don't want to drive and you're kind of limited here on that aspect.
Well, that's a shame.
Now the bus system, yes, there's a massive issue there. And I think the big issue is, if you have time, I'm not going to put a time frame, but let's just put this scenario together. If you have about 3 hours to go across town, that will include about 15 stops.
Are you serious?
Then yeah, you're perfectly fine with taking the bus system. However, that's the kind of the drawback, the massive drawback, especially for those individuals that don't have the public transport, or at least the transportation to get themselves to point A to point B. They're having to take these long commute times to get these places. I haven't taken the bus, thankfully. I've taken the train, won't do it again. So you guys can take that into consideration when thinking about, when understanding, when trying to move to Raleigh, North Carolina. Is the public transportation system here going to either be a plus, or is it going to be a minus as to why you even consider Raleigh, North Carolina? Now I will say, there's been a lot of discussion, there's been a lot of talks as this city has been developing, changing. Proposals have been placed of a better rail system. Now I don't know where they are in terms of that process, and honestly, Raleigh is behind. I don't know how far behind, but Raleigh's behind. So hopefully that is something that is continuously getting in the works, continuously being talked about, so that does happen. Now if that does happen, it will definitely connect, hopefully And if this does happen, this will be amazing. It will connect Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill, the 3 major cities that you need to travel to, whether you're in the Raleigh, Durham, or Chapel Hill area, and you maybe even need to go to Research Triangle Park because that's where you're working, that's where your employer is. But yes, if that better rail system is actually developed and put into place, this will do nothing but tremendously allow more people to reap the benefits of it. Another one that I'll talk about, which is again something that many people say, like, man, I really wish this was here. And it's weird that they say it because it's already here. I guess it's just not to the massive, not to the scale that many people would like it to be. And that's to have more 24-hour places. I mean, I come from a place where Connecticut, we had diners, we had IHOPs. I mean, we had several other places. It was diners primarily, and where, you know, you just get finished partying, or you're out late and you just need a quick snack. You need something really quick to eat, and you don't want to get behind that stove and cook up anything. You have that ability to go to a diner and really go do something really quickly here. Now, of course, there are some places here. So if you're a big fan of Denny's, Cookout, Waffle House, you know, those are some places that do give you the ability to have those 24-hour places that you can go hang out, whether it's after the club, after going to the bar really late, after hanging out with friends, or maybe you just had a long day of travel and you're just now getting back into town. However, those are the only 3, so if you're not a big fan of those, I don't know, you might be in trouble there. The third thing on that list, and this one I don't think it's, I think it's, of course, it makes sense. Everything is developing, everything is kind of coming together. I mean, this, I assume, and I would hope, it's only going to get better in due time, but it's the improvement of the roads, especially downtown. Now, of course, as I mentioned, there's a lot of construction going on all over this city. So the roads are going to look nice in one place and they're probably jacked up in the next place, and that's okay. That's perfectly fine. I'm sure they're not going to keep it that way, and if they do, man, oh man, are we behind, and we have some improvement to make there. But not only improving the roads for everyone that's commuting, because again, this is a commuter state. You must have your car, especially if you need to get yourself from point A to point B at specific times, unless if you want to drag yourself in on a long commute time using the public transportation system. However, something else that could be added is a little bit more of bike lanes. Now, there is a few of them. You'll see them downtown here and there, but once you leave that downtown area, they're not frequently. They're not out there as many, which I don't know, maybe the greenways make up for it, right? I think it would be pretty cool to have those, but I don't know, the way that people drive here and the way that traffic is now.
And this guy turning right, he's like freaking out. He's like swearing, you know.
And that will take some real time and a real adjustments for everybody to really adapt to a bike lane now being part of the road. Now, don't get me wrong. There are, like I mentioned, some smooth roads. You do have roads that are good in other places, better or not. But it's just overall, I think especially if you can have those lines, then kind of people are not, you know, jumping into your lane, especially when they don't want to signal. So yeah, it's just things like that. I think the little things that, which I think will happen over time, will be great. But these are the uncomfortable truth that you don't find out unless if you're here. And better yet, even if you're here, you may not even find out about it until a couple of months, and when you really start to see how things are operating. And this is why you give me a call, you shoot me a text, an email, day or night, heck, maybe even on the weekends, to figure out what is actually happening here, to see if this is a place, an area that is a best fit for you, yourself, your family, whoever is tagging along. Rolling on to the 4th one now. This is about not the weather in general, this is just about the humidity. Boy oh boy, when I first moved here, I had a ton of people who I was just talking to, and they're gonna say, you're gonna hate the summer. I was so confused when they said that. Very confused. And the reason why I was confused is because I come from a place where Connecticut, it's extremely cold pretty much half of the year. So I enjoy being out, being able to kind of wear short sleeves, hoodies, you know, that's kind of my thing. So when I heard you're gonna hate the summers, I was very confused. Now, I don't hate the summers here, but that humidity here, oh man, sometimes you just really don't want to go outside. I was forewarned. I thought they were talking out their mind. I was like, man, these people don't know what in the world they're missing out on. But when I had my first experience, I was awakened, and I thanked everyone that warned me, because now I know. And now here's a fair warning to you: the humidity here, it is surreal. It is something you definitely want to brace yourself for. If you can, just turn on an AC, or better yet, just maybe don't leave the house until the sun comes down and the humidity just kind of dries up, and then you'll be fine. But that humidity, whew, it is serious. It is serious. Now you've probably had worse, depending on where you're watching this or where you're coming from, but the humidity here is something you definitely want to be cognizant of. Unless if you really like it, then you're on your own. And the fifth one that we have that a lot of people wanted to change, again, the question was really, what is one thing you would change about Raleigh, North Carolina? And this one was to replacing the central prison. So yes, there is a prison, and it's fairly close to downtown.
I'm going crazy. Did I just hear that? Did I?
You know, I don't really know what the idea, what the plan or the infrastructure would look like back when this was planted, but where it is now, it is very inconvenient. And I say inconvenient just because of, you know, it's close to Dorothea Dix Park, where they're actually planning to do this massive like playground looking thing. It's not a playground, it's like this massive place where you can just go hang out, bring the kids, and just have them go have fun, and you can try to lay back. Dog parks will be there. And so yes, very close to there is a central prison. Like I said, I mean, I don't know what the infrastructure look like, but to me it's weird to have it there really out in the open. But that's one of the things that I personally think should be changed and should be looked at, because that could be a place, that could be something else can go there as well, and it would allow the accessibility for those that are downtown to have that accessibility to whatever gets planted there. But man, that location, that idea. And last but not least, add more things to do. So yes, we have museums, we have a ton of parks, you have a ton of recreational events that happen here very often. But if you're someone who is really big on zoos, aquariums, theme parks like Six Flags, Carowinds, that's only in Charlotte though, and maybe even adding another professional sports team, I think all of those right there will be amazing. You know, I'm a person that I like to go out, I like to go do things. I'm very adventurous. So if you're adventurous as well, you can have those things that you can do in Raleigh, but you'll be limited at some point in time, because again, there's so many times that you can do the same thing over and over and over again that you're gonna find yourself having to go outside of Raleigh to do those things. But if you are limited and you only have to be in Raleigh, then yes, you'll be 100% bored after whenever you complete those things, right? But this is something Raleigh, I think, definitely should have a little bit more of. There's a little bit more things to do, a little bit of excitement to do. Like yes, we have college sports teams, and you have Canes, the hockey team, but I think one more professional team. I don't know what that professional team would be, but I think it would be really cool to have it, because it just gives more to do. Now that wraps up today's video. Like I mentioned, starting this video, I was going to talk about 6 truths that most people don't talk about. It's uncomfortable truth because most people don't want to even say it. It's a hidden truth because most people are trying to debunk it to the point where either to get you to North Carolina, to get you to Raleigh, or to maybe sell you on this big old fantasy that Raleigh is. But in all reality, it is up until the point where you can identify if it's a good fit for you or not. But like I mentioned, I am a licensed realtor here, and I would love nothing more but to be able to assist you with any of your real estate needs. So that number that's popping up right there, make sure to give me a call, shoot me a text, email, day or night, heck, maybe even on the weekends. You know I got your back in this market. Peace out.